here we have one parcel shelf, rear shelf, Mk2 Escort. So we'll clean that up first. Alright. What's funny here is actually the way that they've done these speaker holes. They put a bomb in there or something and just sort of let it off and blew a hole and peeled back the metal. So I've come back to the template here and I've just marked out the hole that I'd already cut to redo it. Get a template for cutting this out. So I'll cut the piece out of the new parcel shelf, just I don't know, like 5mm extra around the perimeter, so that I can trim it up and fit that in nicely. I marked out the cut now. As you can see, we're still going to have a gap here, which we'll work out. It's still better than having what's going to be several pieces welded together. This can be done in 2 or 3 pieces, and obviously the matching of the radius is going to be a lot nicer. So I've cut a few bits out now. Just about to tack these 2 pieces together, and then once those 2 pieces are tacked together, I'll measure this up to fill in that area there, because believe it or not, the other parcel shelf doesn't have the complete section, so I've still got to make it in 3 pieces, but it's still better than doing it in 7, and that side will be a little bit easier as well. But yeah, just cut away and tack that up. Missing half of the welds is part of the course really. But anyway, that's stuck on there now. So what I'll do is I can cut that out. That finishes the piece of the puzzle. It'll look alright, that. Okay, so 2 pieces welded together, put back onto the area with the clecos, and then the 3rd piece put in and clecoed in as well. So looking really quite okay at the moment. So I'm going to try this, I think they call it button cut. So we're going to tack this onto here, tack it in a few places, and then make a cut, and then weld up the cut, pulling off the excess material from the back. This is something that I learned about from Fitzy's channel, Fitzy's Fabrications, so he's well worth watching if you don't watch him already. Alright, so now that piece is tacked in place, so I can pull that off and do this button shut thing, hopefully. But yeah, coming up nice. Hopefully those lines are looking spot on. That should come in there. Okay. Now this is all tacked up. I've got to do a cut. This is scrap, don't need any of that. Cut that out. And then do the button shut on here. So we do a 45-degree cut along there. Needs cleaning up obviously. 45-degree cut along there, 45-degree cut along there, and then that'll perfectly match them and we can re-weld them. Making it up as I go along. Love it. So I've made the cut. That's welded on there. That's cut around there. Now the back should, the scrap material here, one end each job. There we go. Pull that off of there, and then that's left us with a close fit to butt weld up. Alright, I'm going to weld that up now. Get it all flush, weld it up, grind it up, and that should be the bit. And then we can cut it into the car later. So I'm just welding that in there now. I've backed it up with a bit of brass and just tack welding that. And I'll do the same over here, and then tack weld that. Then I'll pull the brass out, let it cool down, fill in between the tack welds, and then up here as well. Right, it's getting a bit dark out here now, so this will probably be the last for today. It doesn't matter anyway because I'm going to stitch them all together. It's taken days so far. All stitched together now, all lined up, all the holes, body lines or whatever you want to call them. They all line up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue cleaning the back off because all that rust and crap has to go. And I'm going to weld it in the back there. Weld it spot between the spots till it's all solidly done, and then grind it flat. And hopefully that'll leave the top side looking nice. Obviously these have got to be ground down as well. Alright, I've cleaned up all the back side here, cleaned up the spot welds I did earlier, and now what I'm going to do is just spot weld all this in, do the filling in the gaps. So weld here, weld there, weld there, weld there, weld there, let it cool, and then go in and fill the gaps again. And we'll do that with the whole thing, and then grind it all up, and it should be one solid piece. Right, so welded that up, let it cool a little bit down, and then move the copper to this side, and we'll go again. Let's start with a few seconds to cool down. A bit of the box there is nothing. Then cool it, and we'll fill those welds in, the gaps in shortly. There we have it, all welded up. Now it's time to grind it. So that's the welded side, which is the underside, and that's the top side. So you can see a little bit of bleed through. That should grind and flatten up nicely. Most of the grinding on the other side. Yeah. Right, okay, so that's in there now. There's a few welding witness marks and whatnot, but that's both sides of it. Right, we're back at it. So now what I'm going to do, we're all welded and ground and whatever. Obviously welded in the back there and the front there. There's quite a bit of witness mark, but we'll deal with that later. So that's got to go up in there. And I'm going to just mark the excess material and do a cut on the fill-in piece, so it's a little bit closer, and the overlap there is a bit too much at the moment. Alright, so we're marked up, and if I was to cut it, you know, just a few millimeters additional material, leaving additional material, then I'm going to lose the cleco holes. So I'm going to actually sort of follow the line round with the cleco holes, just leave them as tabs on there so I can get the same position for the piece of work in there, and then we'll tack it and do the button cut. Okay, so that's cut down to size now and clecoed back in. So I'm going to mark the area around the patch panel, take it off again, then clean the red paint off so we can get a weld on there. I have put rust converter on the back of that. In a moment I will just scotch it off very slightly with some maroon red Scotch Brite, and I've also cleaned the area around there to weld. Next step here is to prime it. Put some primer on there. Just primed up with some rattle spray, 2 coats, let that dry. I give it a little scuff, and then I'll run around the edges, take it down to bare metal. It'll probably get painted again when we paint the car, but just put that on the underside just for a bit of security, I guess. Good practice and all that. Apparently, this is it. Right, we are into tack welding this in now. Primer on the other side, it's all buzzed around, clean. Let's see what we can do with it. Not the easiest of spots, but there we go. I think I'll turn my mask on. I didn't take that one. Yeah, that's the top edge done. So that one didn't take, but that's probably a good idea that it didn't take. Let's chase it down here now. That's caught that one. No, let it go. We'll go back and have that here. Shouldn't have got that one either. Somehow have to work around the camera here. Let's get round here. Right, I think that's all okay. So now you can pull the clecos out, put a 45-degree cut down here, and then weld it up. Probably just spot weld it for now. Do the 45-degree cut and then re-spot weld it, and then chase it around, just cutting, spot welding, and then pulling the excess piece of metal out of the back. And then once that's all done, we can sort of check it, maybe do a little sort of dressing with a hammer and dolly, and then weld it up solid. Here's the clecos out. Okay. Hey, well, actually there's two misses there, so I'm just going to put a couple more spots on there. the cutting disc on the grinder, and I'll cut that out. So first I'm going to cut between here, I think here, going in there at 45 degrees up to here, and then just put a couple of spots in that and do that section. Leave that one there, leave that one there, that's actually taken. Okay. Well, that's pretty terrible, actually. Didn't go in there straight. Definitely easier said than done, that's for sure. Yes, I can get that level. That's a big mess there. Okay, we'll weld that big mess up. What a shame. Okay. This is a piece of copper. So I am going to put that onto the back of it. This is a heat sink. Certainly get a good tack on there. Seems level enough. Glove on, helmet on. No, not going well at all. It's down, which is okay. a little bit up just there, the rest down. Okay. So we'll move on to this now and cut that and see if I can make a better job of cutting it. I think I'll just knock these welds up first because they're affecting the accuracy of my cutting. I'm affecting the accuracy of my cutting, but they're not helping. Right, second cut. So from here to there. Now. that level under there. Travel back. See, clamping that up with the copper there, just helping level that out. Get that spotted up there. So now I've cut all the way around, I've got it all spot welded in, it all level. I've done a little bit of sort of fettling with the hammer and dolly just to get these lines okay. So that's a bit low there, so that's a little bit high there. Yeah, sort of moving around, but most of them are okay. As I go around now and weld that in, sort of dotting around to keep the heat out of one spot, I'll try and keep it flat as possible. Here we are now, all welded up. Welding was a bit of a challenge. It's going to be even more of a challenge getting on my back into the boot upside down with a grinder to tidy the other side up. But there we go. Now it's time to grind this. I'm not going to film grinding because I did that earlier and found bits of grinding dust embedded in the back of the phone. So yeah, another not too bright thing going on there. Alright, I'll carry on and grind that. As you can see, we're into the grinding. I started off with this thing here, thinking that it was nice and aggressive. 24 grit or something it says on there. But it just didn't seem to be cutting it. It's new. It shouldn't be dull, but it just wasn't going in there. So I grabbed this one here, which is old and worn, but cutting a lot better. So I think I might have to review some of my my purchases. So that's down, getting down there low now. It's a little bit of a low spot there. That's got a hammer. I had trouble there earlier. I hammered it up and it's obviously gone back down again. I may try and lie down and just take the knobbles off the inside of it, so that when I hammer this bit, I'm hammering flat. And what I might do as well is just put a bit of a guide coat on there, just so I notice easily these little scuffs I make. And I will, I believe, grab the power file, needle sander, whatever you want to call it, put a new belt on there and just start to level these off. Okay, so I'll be back shortly. That's it, with just some black aerosol, matte aerosol sprayed on there, flat black. So should help as a guide coat. Grinding there with the guide coat on. So now I'm going to get underneath and just tidy that up a little bit. That is how the underneath looks. So a few spider legs hanging out there. And a few nodules of globby weld, but we'll just buzz that up now. There we are, cleaned up. So I used a flat wheel on the grinder to knock the most of it off. and then got the needle file up there with some 40 grit on it, so it's reasonably flat now. And that's after 80 DA. So we'll protect that now and then move on to the other side.